So this is the information for exploratory Spanish this year. So what I've done is rather than going through my entire syllabus, which will be posted on Canvas, and I'll give you the opportunity to read that, I have just added some bullet points of the most frequently asked questions I've had over the course of the last couple of years. This is the information that parents most want to know, is included in the syllabus, but has a little bit more detail. So I'll try to be as succinct as possible. All right, so Exploratory Spanish is a new course for many of the students. A lot of people don't know what exactly is going to happen this year. So for 7th graders in the Exploratory program, they will be taking 18 weeks of Spanish, 2 marking periods. Exploratory Spanish is like what I like to call like the appetizer sampler of foreign language study. That's what goes on right now. So we're going to get them a little bit of everything, a little bit of vocabulary, a little bit of grammar, a little bit of culture. It's to expose them to the language so they know what it's like to learn Spanish. But then the second semester, students who are currently in Exploratory Spanish will have one of 2 classes on their schedule. They will either be taking German and Latin for a 9-week period, 1 marking period, and then computer safety for another 9-week period, which is also 1 marking period. They may have computer safety first and German and Latin second, but that is the way the schedule works. And the reason for this is because it has to do with the number of staff we have. There is 1 French teacher at the high school who is shared with the middle school, 1 German and Latin teacher who is shared between the middle school and the high school. So we're unable to give all the students 1 marking period of each of the exploratory languages. So what we try to do in Exploratory Spanish, because they're with us for so much longer, is to really focus on skills that would apply across all languages. So we try to really instill in them that it doesn't matter if you're taking Spanish next year, everything we're doing right now will apply in German, it will apply in Latin, it will apply in French. So we try to really target those skills that would cross into all languages. That's what happens for them for this year. Now next year, 7th graders at some point, usually around May, will be given a choice of what language they would like to sign up for next year. They will sign up for either French 1, German 1, Latin 1, or Spanish, and from that point, they will be separated into 2 groups, Spanish 1 or middle school Spanish. And the difference is that Spanish 1 is like an honors level course. So that's like taking honors science versus regular science. We're taking honors English versus regular English. It is the exact same course that is offered at our high school. So they are taking a high school level Spanish course. It is rigorously paced. It goes very quickly. And by the end of the year, we have a responsibility to have them at a certain point in the curriculum so that they can transition into Spanish 2 at the high school. This gives the students the ability to then take the AP level college placement course at the high school. Students who aren't ready for that rigorous pace of an honors level course in Spanish can take middle school Spanish. And middle school Spanish is a very similar curriculum to the Spanish 1. It just moves at a much more age-appropriate pace. I call it an on-level pace rather than an advanced pace. It is a course that has more room for projects. It has more room for culture. It has more room for those kinds of things. Students who would be more at like grade level pace. If students take middle school Spanish, that means in 9th grade, they could choose to take Spanish 1, but they could easily transition into any of the other languages. And that's something that students really need to understand. Whatever language you choose in 8th grade does not mean that's what you have to take from now until eternity. There will be choices along the way. As far as grading policy goes, grading marking period is based on total points. They will have unit tests, quizzes, homework, communication, projects. Some of these things may look different than they have in the past based on the circumstances of this school year. But as I mentioned in the first video, we're going to be a little flexible. We're going to go with the flow and do what's best in our current moment. I do offer retests to students. I have a couple little caveats to students taking retests. Rationale for my retest is because Spanish is like math in the sense that it is a continuous curriculum and everything you do is based upon what you've done. It's very sequential. So if a student struggles with a particular skill, when they go to do the next skill, they're going to have some deficiency. So this is a place for them to go back and revisit a skill. My caveats to this are students have to have face-to-face contact with me. I prefer not an email. clearly, under the circumstances of this school year, that might not be possible for all students. So if your student is a fully online student this year, while we're in this time period, that email contact is absolutely okay. I do allow one retest per end of unit test, and that original test has to have been below an 80%. The 80% is a score for proficiency, so if they've reached 80%, they are proficient in that content. There's really no reason to go back and revisit it. They may retest the whole test or in parts, so maybe it's only one or two skills that they need to go back and revisit, not the entire unit content. In order to take a retest, students have to have completed all their homework. They may be asked to do some additional practice, and I ask that they do their retest before we have the next unit test, not during class time, and that the new grade will be the grade that stands. Now, once again, if necessary, flexibility is available for this school year. I do have homework. They will have homework assignments this year. It might look a little different than in years past, obviously. I will post assignments in my room, as well as in the Canvas calendar. Every homework assignment is worth 3 points. They will also learn how to make flashcards. Those take more time, so they're worth more points. They're 5 points. I do accept homework late for a slightly lower number of points, but I would much rather have it late than never. I never assign homework that is meant to keep them busy. It is always something that's meant to increase their skills. So I'd much rather have it late than never. It's something they're still going to benefit from. Graded points on a random basis, meaning most of the time I will check homework for points, but some days there's just no time. We go over it. We will always go over it. We will always get feedback, but maybe one day there's no points for that particular assignment. That's okay. They do earn points for completion, not accuracy. Homework should be a safe place in order to make mistakes and learn from them. And when we go over things, to take that feedback and apply it and make corrections. And I do enter homework traditionally at the end of each unit. Something I started doing last year that I like better is I started entering each score individually, which I think is something I'm going to keep up with this year. There is a communication grade. Students will earn 40 points per marking period. It is something that is assessed daily, whether they are in class in person or Zooming in. There are also assignments they will do for communication that can be earned outside of class. And once again, how this is going to function this year may change a little bit. I'm going to have to be flexible, and so are the students. Please know that any changes I make will be for the benefit of the student, and any changes I make will be clearly communicated, not something that I will just randomly do. If your student's absent, check Canvas. That's the easiest thing to do. It's something they'll be very good at this year. It'll be in the calendar. It'll be in the current module page for the day. If they can't print something out, they can always write something on a piece of paper. They can take a picture and send it to me. They could pick up papers the next day in school. I'm going to do my very best to have papers to them way ahead of time by unit, so they already have everything they need, just in case we go fully online, which I hope doesn't happen, but just in case, I'm trying to be prepared. One of the biggest questions I ever got asked, why does my kid have a 0 in Power Schools? A lot of times it's just because an assignment was incomplete, and as soon as they make it up, I will update it. For example, they were absent the day of the test. So I indicate it as a 0. I will put missing as an indicator. And if you click on the assignment, you'll also see a comment that might say, absent day of test, please make up for full credit. Or student was absent several days prior to the test, allow extra time. But the reason I put the 0 in temporarily is so both you and the student is aware that something is missing and needs to be made up. Otherwise, when you check Power School and you just look at the grades without looking at each individual assignment, it might look like everything's okay. And if I enter a 0 later, all of a sudden things are going to not look so okay. So I do this simply temporarily until something is made up. If it is never made up, clearly it will stay as a 0. Okay, last but not least, lots of parents say, oh, I had Spanish in high school for 4 years and I don't remember a thing. Not uncommon, totally understand. If you don't use it, you lose it. Some things that students can use, and you might hear a lot about, Quizlet is a wonderful site that helps students drill vocabulary. We do a lot of vocabulary in exploratory Spanish. Making flashcards, handwritten ones, sometimes rocking things old school style is actually better than all the new technology. We remember what we write. Students can use their flashcards. Practice how you want to perform. There's a difference between comprehension and production. It's one thing to understand something, it's another thing to be able to produce it on your own. I explain it to the students this way. A multiple choice test is oftentimes a little easier than a fill in the blank test without a word bank, because you have to have that information. So if that's what I'm asking you to do is to produce the language, practice producing the language, speaking it, writing it, putting it out there on your own and checking it. Last but not least, if you have any questions, please, like I said before, you can email me at amazorty@ldsd.org, and I will do my very best to get back to you as soon as possible.